I know I usually have tea, but today is a Gatorade to match the ones on my desk because California is trying to kill me through dehydration and I refuse to let it win. Welcome. I have a message for you. Hollywood drama is back, baby. Hollywood drama is here. So looking into the personal lives of celebrities is like the national pastime for the American public. Hollywood is the HQ of film and TV, and of course, the celebs. Those hot, flashy, sexy people that fill up all the fluff pieces while you're trying to get info on some horrible political events. Though, on the opposite end, standing your problematic fave is genuinely fun, whether you're just thirst following or actually a fan of them as an artist. We love celebrity culture. All of us, especially Americans, are fans of someone like that, to an extent. And I'd argue, though many may deny, we love the drama. And I mean drama, not trauma. Hollywood has spent years cultivating these parasocial relationships that we've developed with a series of different celebs. So when there's beef, we all want in. It's the purpose of tabloids, or I guess in 2022, drama retelling videos. So I guess you could ask, why am I so excited? Well, I'm having a great time, I'm having fun. Well, let me recap the last 10 years in terms of entertainment industry. It has been filled with drama, but that drama is absolutely horrendous. It's not exciting, it's more like gut-wrenching shit that just spilled out of the floodgates and never stopped. Now all these shitty rich guys are being called out, and they certainly deserve it, don't get me wrong, but the tabloids, the news pieces, everything that used to be about Hollywood drama became stories about horrendous abusers, wage gaps, and toxic workplace environments. And though these still need to be outed, it's a good thing that they're getting their public hatred. These people should get called out. But the world is kind of falling apart, and every single news story usually has a middle fluff piece in between that makes you feel better, but now the fluff pieces also make you feel like crap. And then Don't Worry Darling came in and blasted those feelings out of the water. One movie, maybe 5 or 6 main players in the mess, have kept me going through a consistently bad year. And it's the tea heard round the world at this point. Now I look back and I'm like, I see why people used to love tabloids. People magazine used to sell out during these messes. It's something fun, something for the summertime, something for the girls to get ready and party to, and it's not new. This used to be the mainstream. I mean, let me give you some classic examples. When it comes to Hollywood mess, I would say the most famous one is between Bette Davis and Joan Crawford. They're considered like a classic when it comes to Hollywood rivalry. I mean, Ryan Murphy literally made a show. Two leading ladies constantly trying to one-up one another, from allegedly announcing a divorce at the perfect time to take attention away from the other's film, to begging other actresses to allow her to accept the Oscars so she could go on stage on the night the other one was nominated. It was peak passive-aggressive mess, and that is so fun to soak up. They were both in love with the same man, but of course only one of them gets to marry him. And then they teamed up for a movie that is Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, a movie that I would argue is the 60s version of Don't Worry Darling. The only difference is that it got good reviews. Anyway, the two shaded each other up until Joan Crawford literally died, and even after Bette Davis said that she was glad she was dead. It was peak drama, without someone actually being horrifically traumatized like the shit that we see today, and the two technically profited from it. It gave them more gigs, it gave them more press, and their names were more well known because of it. I wish that they were all like this. Once again, not that we shouldn't be calling out horrible people, but I miss when it's like, bitchy rich person fights shitty rich person. That's fun to me. I like watching them fight. A more current version of the drama, or I guess, I don't know if I'd call it current anymore, is the Kanye West versus Taylor Swift. A classic, we all know about it. But at the time, it captivated headlines. A quick recap if you were not aware. On September 13th, 2009, Taylor Swift won Best Female Music Video for You Belong With Me, and Kanye ran onto the stage, this being back before he was considered to have lost his entire mind like he has now. He grabs the mic and he announces that Beyoncé had the best video of all time, basically saying it was bullshit for Taylor to win. Now, even though I do agree that Single Ladies was a better video, it was pretty publicly acknowledged that Kanye was crazy as hell for this, running on stage and shitting on this girl on a live studio audience type thing. I mean, literally President Barack Obama publicly called him a jackass. I don't think it gets worse than that. Actually, thinking back to it now, Kanye's weird Trump era does make a little bit of sense. Anyway, a day later, even Kanye admitted that was a stupid idea, but Taylor does have a habit of turning messy situations around for her benefit. A year later, she performed at the VMAs, and she used that past footage to basically call him out. This is something that she's done countless times, basically allowing a PR fight to spiral out of control and then using it again for the viralization of it. She allows it to fester and then she becomes the bigger person by solving it. And it's not just Taylor, that's what celebrities do all the time. And no shade, it's not a bad marketing campaign, but it also produces a lot of haters from the other fan bases. I mean, no wonder the Swifties are terrifying. They've basically been fighting so many people since the beginning of time. Anyway, a bunch of years after pretending it's all fun and cool, Kanye dropped a song called Famous, where he famously says, "I feel like Taylor and me might have sex. Why? I made that bitch famous." Kanye claimed that he asked Taylor before, Taylor claimed he never approached her, and then Kim Kardashian comes forward with video evidence, which I thought was slay. I was like, I'm not like siding with either of them, but when you drop the video evidence, I'm always like, okay, like work, like okay. Though I will say, the video evidence claims her being cool with the line "Taylor and I might have sex," but there's no evidence of her being cool with the word bitch, which is basically what she later goes online and calls them out for. "I didn't agree for you calling me a bitch." After she goes online and like calls them out like that way, it becomes fandom war. Honestly, the only fandom that I could imagine combating the sheer insanity and horror that is the Swiftie fandom is the Kanye West fans. I don't know if they have a name, but it's them. Because they'll support him no matter what, whatever the hell he says. It is truly unstoppable force meets immovable object. These are two giant, well, brands basically that both have a reputation for media manipulation. Honestly, who knows which one is right? Personally, I believe they're both wrong and they both probably lied a little. I just love watching rich people fight like they're in middle school. It fuels me. But to bring it back to my main topic, we don't see much more of this now. Drama that's based on words and subtle jabs has been converted to horrifying stories and multiple depressing docuseries. And even these two players fell into those categories. Kanye later, spending months and months publicly harassing his ex-wife to the point that everyone's afraid. And Taylor being forced into an absurd legal battle over her own songs, which she eventually lost. This wasn't drama, this was trauma. That's less fun to look at. That's why Don't Worry Darling slaps so hard when it comes to the drama. It's petty, it's pointed attacks at each other, and it spirals out of control and consumes the movie. Now let me just make a series of statements, good or bad, probably mostly bad. A big portion of this is probably PR. We always gotta remember that. I don't think the original goal was that, but hey, it captivated audiences much more than the actual movie, and probably brought more tickets in. I was hoping to see it anyway, but once this all happened, I was there opening night. In terms of acting, Florence Pugh, incredible. The entire cast, incredible. Harry, we'll discuss it. And now let me go into the part where I quickly shit all over this movie. Don't Worry Darling was originally announced as a movie directed by Olivia Wilde starring Florence Pugh and Shia LaBeouf. It was a script from The Blacklist, a site that hosts scripts that executives from Hollywood vote for as things they want to be made but haven't been made. If you get on there, it's really helpful to sell that script. For writers, that's like a dream. And Olivia found it, later claiming it as an IP, I believe, and then basically changed the entire ending, which I find kind of shitty because she kind of claimed this was her movie even though someone else wrote it. They're still credited, but there's this feeling of theft I don't really know how to describe. Personally, I don't hate the original ending where Alice, or Florence Pugh, gets trapped in basically a psych ward and Bunny, or Olivia Wilde, shows her the exit out of the simulation. It gave more purpose to Olivia's semi-pointless character, but still felt unfinished. There still needed to be something else, and I think Olivia took that script and gave it something else, but that something else was just not good. Then Olivia Wilde claims she fired Shia LaBeouf to, quote, protect Florence Pugh, hiring Harry Styles as a replacement. This came out around the time that Shia was being, well, accused, but also rightfully called out for basically being horribly abusive to multiple female partners in his life, this time in particular to FKA Twigs, but also being a terror on set to the cast and crew. So her firing him felt like a right choice, it made sense, it clicks, and at that point we didn't know. This also especially made sense for a film that was supposed to have this groundbreaking feminist perspective. But, for example, do you remember when Olivia Wilde said, men don't come in this movie, only women? Because that's a fucking insane thing to say when you learn the big, in my opinion, horrendous plot twist that happens. Basically, obviously, if you're here, you've probably seen it at this point, or you don't care, but the plot twist is that they are all in this mass hypnosis simulation where men in real life have kidnapped all these women and have forced them into basically a 50s housewife simulator where they just fuck them forever and they're trapped in there but the men can leave. That is fucking insane. When she says that this is a movie about female sexuality, it is literally the opposite. It is literally the opposite. Why on earth, like, why did she say that? Like, it's got me racking my brain for days. Why did she say that? She made the movie. I don't even care if it's promo. Like, how can you say that, like, with a straight face, knowing that this is the, like, girl kidnapper movie? The girls are being kidnapped. I read this quote from Olivia Wilde once a day. Listen, I think she's a great director. I loved Booksmart, but my God, did this not look good when it started turning against her. Florence was also like, I don't agree. I'm not in this industry for people to focus on sex scenes. And that's kind of where their beef started to begin, because then Olivia responded to that. And this is kind of like in the same way that it's Bette and Joan. It's the main actress, Florence, versus the director supporting actress, Olivia. Kind of that dual giant power clashing together, to which I was like, yes, I want to know more about it. Then you hear that Olivia Wilde and Jason Sudeikis got divorced because she was apparently married to him, even though I don't think anyone knew. And she and Harry Styles, the main male actor, and also like the most famous person in the world, start dating, and you kind of toss two more players into the ring. During the promotion of the movie, Jason Sudeikis served Olivia Wilde divorce papers on stage, and that is when it hit me. That is when I said, oh, we're about to have some juicy, absolutely stupid, and mind-numbing but excellent celebrity tea. And I was correct. Florence Pugh suddenly was no longer appearing at promotional events, which is always a bad sign. And Olivia tried to say she was working on Dune, but she very obviously wasn't. She was drinking wine and strutting around elsewhere. It was glorious to watch Florence do whatever she wanted, and Olivia's PR team desperately try to save face. God, it was good. And I was like, yes. Like, in this moment, I'm sorry, like, these are real people, but in this moment, I was like,
that's what we've been waiting for!
It's what we wanted all along!
I don't want to see another person horribly, like, going through the worst shit in their world. I want to see this girl living her fucking dreams, and this movie that apparently treated her like shit, doing everything in their power to, like, clean up the mess that she's making. I love it. I love it. People started commenting on the moral issues of a director, Olivia Wilde dating an actor, Harry Styles, to which I'll say, yeah, it's not really cool, especially if it happened while on set, which I assume it did, since a portion of the drama stems from the rumor that Florence Pugh was mad that she basically had to direct a portion of the movie because Olivia and Harry were nowhere to be found, probably canoodling in their trailer. This is a very, 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 very specific side note, but that is really unprofessional, and there's so much to shoot in every day of production. You cannot just fuck in that trailer if that's true. And there is this one specific plot line in a show that you're not going to expect me to mention called The L Word. We all know the L Word, or you should. But basically, it is a show about a group of lesbians that live in Hollywood, and one of them, the main one technically, Jenny, who is like notoriously an awful character that people hate, starts fucking the main actress of this movie that she just kind of fell into directing. And the entire time I'm watching it, I'm like, these people have never been on a set before. She's taking hours just fucking her in that trailer, and if I was a PA in that film, I probably would have walked off. And spoiler, she got fired. I think you're supposed to hate the assistant that got her fired, but no, absolutely not. I was praising her. She should have been fired like 10 more times. But I watched that and I claimed to my roommate, there's no way this is realistic, and honestly, Olivia Wilde proved me wrong today, so I guess thank you for that. Anyway, if it is true, it is kind of shitty for them to call out Olivia Wilde dating Harry and not like the dozens and dozens of still working male directors that have done the same thing. But I can guess why they threw more hate at her. It's the obvious word that we're all kind of jumping around. But we are in peak Baby Jane right now. These two ladies are avoiding each other. The press tour comes, and Chris Pine, who is in the movie, but someone that should not be in the movie, someone who should not be in this at all, gets tossed in as another character, another main, very obviously annoyed that Harry is trying to sound like a professional actor and rambling words that sound like me trying to add a bunch of words at the end of an essay to make it fuller. But the fandoms are going wild. You got Twitter film bros and Harry Styles fans in the trenches fighting in the chat. Harry and Olivia are acting like they don't know each other at the premiere. And then the best part, in my opinion, is Shia LaBeouf, he's more of the scary trauma drama, but he enters the scene, someone I did not expect to return, and he drops video evidence saying, no, Olivia didn't fire me, I quit due to rehearsal issues, and then she sent me a video begging me to come back, and also shitting on Florence Pugh, calling her Miss Flo, and then the makeup artist that dressed Florence Pugh wore Miss Flo on their shirt. It was beautiful. It was beautiful drama. It was petty, it was small, and Florence didn't do it. She could not get called out for making the statement, even though she obviously did. It's smart. It is college-educated fighting. God, it almost brought a tear to my eye. But obviously, lying about Shia LaBeouf being firing was rough. There's no way to have a conversation about it without basically admitting that you lied or you kind of fucked up. So she just opted not to comment on it at all, which I get, Olivia. Like, what could you possibly say? I will say, Olivia attempting to lie about firing a main actor under the guise of a feminist move kind of felt like foreshadowing for a movie that was advertised to be this giant female-focused sexual feminist awakening, and then just kind of fell through the cracks. And then the movie comes out, and the icing on the cake, it sucks. If you like this movie, it's okay. It's fine. It was fun. The art direction, the set deck, the costumes, top tier. You can tell the crew knew what they were doing. In terms of execution, it's fantastic, I will not deny. This felt like an escapist movie, so for the plot twist to be that this real-life incel just captured you, and that everything you saw, all the plot lines that we had been following up until that moment that all seemed to be going somewhere, were just fake, and instead the big twist is that none of it is real and that you're living in this weird simulation that's being shot into your eyes. It just felt like a shit answer. It almost felt like a cop-out. It felt like you had created all these questions that we were interested in, and you basically decided not to answer them. I just thought that we were building to something bigger with the earthquakes and the secrecy about the project. Why were there earthquakes in the simulation? Digging for precious materials or whatever, I get that that's obviously stupid and fake, but I didn't realize it was a red herring to nothing, as most of the movie kind of was. Why was there a plane crash there? It makes no sense. I will say, shout out to my roommate Daria for seeing it twice. She's probably the only person in the world who did. The plane is a reference to Kiki Lane's character, Margaret, who in the beginning is kind of holding it up to her chest in that one scene. It's the little toy plane that her son had, but like, what an obscure and pointless thing to stay on. For Alice's character journey, it doesn't really do anything. Why didn't she have hallucinations of like herself being a doctor, which was her real life job? Why this random thing? Why is she imagining herself underwater? The psychological special effects that were originally intriguing to me in the trailer just felt random and meaningless. Random ties to random things with no real reason other than to make it weird. It was scattered. I can agree that some of them probably fit better on paper, and that might be an editing issue, but it didn't work. It simply flopped. Why did Gemma Chan have that random girl boss moment at the end where she killed Chris Pine? There was no arc, the plot felt tossed in, it makes no sense. I could see it being the ending, but there was no progression up to it. She just flips and does it. It leads me to believe that maybe they cut out a lot of her scenes. We already know that they did that to Kiki Lane, who posted about it publicly, which once again, drama, bitch. Drama is here. I don't like that Florence Pugh's character can break this entire, probably multi-million-dollar simulation thing because she was smart and she cared more. Like, the catalyst is that she was just like a little bit more of an empath, and I just don't care for that. I'm surprised that all the other women, other than Bunny of course, didn't have a single issue at all, while specifically Alice was seeing an endless supply of insane shit. It makes sense after she logged out by pressing her hands to that stupid tower that she would start seeing things, but she saw a bunch of shit before that too. Like, it just, why was it happening? It didn't click to me. Personally, I actually probably would have liked it better if she saw nothing, and then she got up there for another reason that wasn't the plane crash. And then when she came back, it all was falling apart. There was allegedly a screaming match between Florence and Olivia on set. This is a rumor, but I do believe it, mostly because I've seen it before on sets that I've been on. But on the opposite side, I have to acknowledge that 40 members of the crew signed a letter claiming it didn't happen, which is insane. I've never seen that before, and that is evidence against the rumor. But on the other hand, there's a lot more than 40 people that work on a movie, and out of the 40, how many, if approached by a producer that said, you gotta sign this shit, are gonna argue? Hierarchy is so terrifying in Hollywood, people are not gonna burn a bridge for online drama. Of course they'll sign it. If I was a PA on that film and they brought it up to me, I'd probably sign it too. So I don't really know what the truth is, which is why it's drama. They left us to fend for ourselves in this fight. They will not give us the full answer. Even when they do, it doesn't feel right. That's drama. The Harry Styles spitting on Chris Pine thing probably didn't happen. For one, up until that clip of Chris Pine being annoyed at Harry talking, they didn't have any public beef. They had no reason to. Chris Pine is just there. And if anything, like, it's more of a mirror towards the fandoms and the moviegoers and just the general public that we were holding on to these people's personal lives so hard, much harder than we actually were for the movie. It sweeped the news and it wasn't even real. At least I don't think it was. I'm not really sure what happened. I don't think he spit on him. I think that would have been insane and we would have seen more, like we would have seen the spit, which no one can really see. I think most people agree that the movie, even at its best, is just cluttered with plot holes. How did Alice vanish for a year and no one know? She had a career, she had alleged friends and family, like nobody asked where she went. How is Harry Styles paying for her to just live there now? He's now paying for her and him because she cannot work because she's strapped to a bed. How is Chris Pine, an incel podcaster, killing people in real life? How did he get that power? Also, when Alice wakes up at the end, isn't she still strapped to the bed? Won't they still kill her? Even if Chris Pine is dead, there seems to be this army of men that are killing her, actually killing people in real life. How is that not... How have they not been caught? Like, there isn't like a... There's just a lot of like, how the hell is this happening? Like, the actual explanation that we need is not there, but explanation about 20 other fucking things is there. Now, this movie basically says if you die in that simulation, you die in real life, to which I was like, where did that storyline come from? But let me bring up what we're all waiting for. When I saw that movie, half the theater had come in here to make fun of Harry Styles as an actor, which I thought, I mean, he wasn't amazing. He was fine. There was a couple scenes I thought he didn't really perform great, but he mostly did the job. People were like shitting on him, but like honestly, I've seen worse. I will say, if anything, that his chemistry with Florence Pugh was fucking atrocious. That was the biggest issue for me. They did not love each other. She did amazingly though, so I can only guess who the issue was there. I have like 1,000 more issues with it, but to wrap it up, any attempt at a larger message was basically crushed by the plot holes and the outside drama. Looking at the movie itself, it lacks a voice. It is just, you know, beautiful gowns, gorgeous gowns, but no flavor, no real substance. The writing kind of feels like you painstakingly made this like 5-course meal that you spent all day doing, and then like this plot twist comes in and like pushes you on the table and starts eating you out for no reason in the middle of the movie, and you knock all the food to the floor, and everyone in the theater is like, no, we watched a whole montage of you making that, and you don't even care because you're just being fucked on the table because women come in this movie, even though the stupid music has the woman orgasm the entire time, and I'm like, this is so disgusting and weird. It was supposed, I could see what they were trying to do, but it just made me laugh. And as it gets intense, with the movie getting more intense, was just, God, it was funny. It was funny and it wasn't supposed to be. Anyway, I claim that this is our generation's Baby Jane, and because of that, I love it. It's drama, not trauma, that shoots all these people into the spotlight, but it isn't like the most horrifying thing you've ever heard, like every other news story that we see today. It's lighthearted, rich people fighting each other, just what the doctor ordered. Basically, all I want to say is after we're done calling out the horrible people in Hollywood, which will continue for a very long time because there's a lot more of them, I hope we can return to the juicy scandals like this where you pit your problematic faves up against each other, and maybe it won't actually feel like we're watching the world crumble around us. Don't Worry Darling will come and go because the movie didn't do well critically, obviously because of the 20 issues that it had, and also did fine financially, but the drama behind the scenes will live on forever. And that's okay. Drama is fun, and we need it, all of us. It provided the real escapism that the movie itself failed to deliver on. And I want that Miss Flo shirt really, really, really badly. That's all I have to say. If for some reason you're watching me, a random person, talk about this movie that you somehow haven't seen, I would say you could go see it. It's fun. I think if you go in for just like the visuals and to watch Florence Pugh like lose her mind and beat Harry Styles with a glass, which was very funny, like, I think you'll have a good time. I just say don't expect anything to be groundbreaking. Anyway, for real, that's all I have to say. Thank you for watching me. I don't have an outro. I don't think I'm ever going to have an outro or really an intro. I just don't care to be weird like that. I don't care to be silly and goofy like that. I'm just going to end it very, very bluntly like this.